I'm Amanda.
I'm Alexa.
And welcome to Tatas and Tea.
2025.
It's our first one.
Tatas and Tea. We already got the intro right. So
yeah,
that's good.
Maybe
that's
the first time in a minute.
Right.
It's been a rough start to the year, but man, this was worth the wait. Truly, because if we had recorded earlier, we wouldn't have these updates.
That is true.
And man, do we have some juicy updates for you. If you remember one of our first episodes, This Just Keeps Getting Worse, we talked about several cheaters and how they had mistresses, and we have some updates.
So my cheater...
with the wife
and like the lesbian couple and the mistress. Cheater got caught again. And she was going to leave her wife to be with the mistress, and now the mistress wants absolutely nothing to do with her at all.
Crazy.
Like nothing. And like they had things of each other's like personal items or whatever. The cheater went there like the other day, and she's like, she just like treated me like I was a complete stranger, like barely spoke to me, like even like cordially. And she's like, I had so much to say. I wrote a 3-page letter, this and that. And like, I want her back and I want to be with her. The mistress wants nothing to do with her, which I don't blame.
Did the cheater end it with wife and then go to mistress, and mistress was like, nah, I'm done? Or did mistress end it first? Like, how did that all unfold?
Cheater told the wife that and confessed everything, that she's been talking to her still, because the wife didn't think that she was, like, she's been lying. And she said she wants to be with her and she's in love with her and she wants a divorce. Like, she said those words to her wife. The wife is still fighting to be with cheater and still wants to give it everything because they have kids involved and the house and all of that. So pretty much what cheater's doing is just staying there for that reason right now, and trying to get the mistress back, but she can't. So
she's just gonna stay with wife until she can get mistress back?
Yep. And the mistress was like, it was like too long that she like waited to like tell her wife like what she wanted, what was going on, and she was waiting forever.
Well, because she divorced her husband and started this whole new life. And it's just so crazy that now cheater is like, okay, I'm finally ready to leave my wife, and mistress is like, too late.
Yeah, and then she's like, oh, like, cheater's like, it was true love. Like, I don't think I could go back to my wife because it's not like the same. And I'm like, if it was true love for both of you, for you and mistress, she would be all over it. Mm-hmm. Like, if that were me in that situation, I would be like, I would do anything I could to be with the person that I like am so in love with.
Right.
So clearly there's like a disconnect.
Even if mistress wanted to be with cheater was cheating for so long. Like, how do you start a healthy relationship with that dynamic? You can't.
I think that's what cheater told me. She said that mistress also didn't want to start or like to be together with her and then tell people this is how we started.
Right.
So regardless of how long it took her to leave the wife, it's the same start.
Do you think maybe mistress is waiting for cheater to like actually leave the wife?
Maybe she is.
Have her own life, get out on her own, and then she'll give it a chance?
That's what I think, but I know cheater's never going to do that. Cheater knows she can't do it because she's like, everything, if you think about it logically, does not make sense to go and be with the mistress.
Right.
But her heart wants to be with the mistress.
Or her vagina.
I wish that they could get together, like that she leaves her wife, she goes with mistress, and like has a miserable life. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't work out.
No, I think it's so much. It's for cheaters, it's like the thrill of doing something you're not supposed to be doing. But I'm curious as to what wife says about all this or thinks about it, because I mean, wife has caught cheater cheating Lord knows how many times, and now cheater is finally like, hey, I don't want to be with you, and wife is just like, oh, okay, but like I'll stay with you until like mistress is ready to take you. Like,
she's so desperate. I don't know, but
crazy.
There's so like
some people just like are afraid to let go, and that's what it is. It's like some people are so afraid of the unknown of upending your life, because it's not just the two of them, they have kids. So I feel bad for wife, but also you can only feel bad for so long, you know.
I know.
After a while, like, you know what you're gonna like at this point. I feel like wife just kind of accepts it, like this is the life she's accepted. Not that it's it's okay for cheater to continue to do this, but like when you put up with it for so long.
I know. Like she said, like, I think the saddest part is like when I talk to the cheater, she's like, oh, like my wife doesn't deserve it. Like, doesn't deserve it. So then why are you doing this to her?
I mean, here's the thing with Mistress. Regardless of whether her and Cheater were going to be together, Mistress clearly was not happy in her marriage, right? Cheater wants to have her cake and eat it too. Mm-hmm. You know, she just wants someone. And if Mistress won't take her, then she'll just, I guess, settle for wife, which is horrible because no one deserves that.
This is what she's done for over 20 years.
Mm-hmm. But it's hard. I mean, like, who knows also what, because it's so manipulative and abusive in a way. And people get stuck in this, like, cycle of abuse. Cheater might not have left wife officially. In my story, man, oh man, as we recall with the story I told, I had gone on a date with this man who ended up having a girlfriend and a mistress. And the mistress is the one that told me about the girlfriend. And we had like this whole long conversation. Well, since then, I have not heard from either one of them. In fact, Cheater blocked me on social media, which I don't even care. But, you know, I didn't think I'd get another update to the story. Now, here's where my luck runs out. At the end of the year, and as you recall, I met Cheater at a karaoke competition that I was involved in. And at the end of the year, I go to karaoke at this bar. And who is running karaoke? Because the normal host is gone, but Cheater. And who is there with Cheater but Mistress? And I was like, oh, I guess this is still going on.
Oh my God.
And it was like awkward because I had to put in my songs through this person. And at one point I had to have a conversation, but it was fine. Now, this past weekend, I was again at Georgie's and this competition is happening again. And against my own better judgment, I signed up again. And someone was looking over the signups and said to me, oh, you signed up? And I was like, yeah, I was kind of hesitant, especially because I didn't know who the judges would be. And I now have a conflict with one of the judges from last year. And if he was judging, I couldn't do the competition. Like, it's too much of a conflict. And so she says to me, I actually wanted to talk to you about that. And I was like, okay. And so she's like, so I want to know your version of events. And I was like, we're talking about Cheater, right? And she was like, yes. And I told her everything. And I told her about the podcast episode. And she's like, okay, so him and I have actually been talking. And I was like, oh, snap. So she tells me this whole story about how the weekend he was covering, she had seen him there with Mistress, because she obviously also knows Mistress. Didn't even recognize the two of them were together. The following day, Cheater and her are talking because they're also friends. And he starts like flirting with her and making inappropriate comments. And then out of nowhere, he says to her, Amanda's crazy. Out of nowhere. And I'm like, that's a red flag, because why? And she said to me too, she was like, it was just such a strange comment to make because we weren't talking about you. And it was just so out of left field that he called you crazy. So this person who has a current interest in Cheater, who we'll just call the current interest, apparently talked to someone a couple days before I had this conversation with the current interest. And it's a mutual friend. So I had told the mutual friend about this whole situation with Cheater. And so when the current interest was like, oh, I have a thing going on with Cheater, the mutual friend was like, wait, have you talked to Amanda at all? And she was like, no. And she was like, you need to talk to Amanda because this whole thing happened and she has a whole podcast about it. And like, you just need to talk to her. So I told her everything because I'm a girl's girl. And she was like, thank you so much for sharing with me. She was like, I didn't know that Cheater and Mistress had a thing. And I didn't even know that on top of that, he also had a girlfriend. I was like, listen, I don't really know what the status is with Mistress like, clearly they're still doing something. I was like, I don't know what the status is with girlfriend, but regardless, like, he has cheated on several of his exes now. Like, the ex before, he cheated on several times. And I was like, you just don't want to be involved in something like that. It's just messy. And I feel so bad for the current interest because she thought they were friends, thought she could trust him, and was disappointed to find all of this out. So, and she asked me too, she was like, should I say something to Mistress? And I was like, you know, I don't even think it's worth it because she's never going to leave him. But the funny thing is that the current interest pointed out to me, Mistress has Cheater's initials in her Instagram profile.
Mistress does?
Yeah. And so I was like, that's interesting. So I went to try and find Girlfriend, and previously Girlfriend had her profile picture of the two of them. And as of December, that picture at the, you know, earliest I've seen, that picture is no longer there.
Really?
So it looks like Cheater did break up with Girlfriend and is now seeing Mistress, but now he's still on his bullshit with this current love interest. And so basically current interest texted him back and was like, yeah, I heard some things at the bar that I didn't really like, and it has been radio silence ever since.
He knows it's from you.
100%. And the reason he said I was crazy unprompted is because he knew that this would get back to her. And he was probably like, oh, I can nip it in the bud and still keep this thing going. And on top of that, here's the crazy thing. Mistress has been liking the current interests stuff on Instagram, like, more than usual. So I think Mistress kind of has an idea.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe they have an open relationship. Regardless of, like, looking at all of this other stuff that has happened, it's just not a good idea to get involved with this man. And that's what her and I talked about. And I feel bad because she was like, you know, I feel so stupid. And I said, you know, I feel the same exact way, or I did.
But it was nice of you to at least tell her before she gets so into it, like weeks, months, or longer.
Well, imagine if she was in a situation like me where she went on a full-on date. They had plans to meet up and hook up, and she canceled them because she had heard, she was like, I need to talk to Amanda before I can even, you know, meet up with this guy. So she canceled them. So imagine if they met up and, like, things happened and, you know, she got really deep into it. Maybe she develops feelings, and then to find out he's actually seeing someone else and has been lying. And the other thing is, if he were in an open relationship with Mistress, he would have told the current interest.
Yeah, he should be open and honest about it.
He should be like, hey, just so you know, like, I am interested in you, but I am also seeing someone else, but we're open because that's something you share.
But look who we're talking about.
But yeah.
He's not. No way.
No. So.
Wow. That's crazy how that just happened, like, last weekend or whatever.
Last
it was
weekend.
like, so, yeah.
And we were supposed to record a couple weeks ago, but honestly, it's like the universe knew we needed this update in life. The thing that really gets me with Cheater is he keeps picking up people from the same bar. Like, we don't all know each other, and he knows we all know each other. And him trying to cut it off and be like, Amanda's crazy. And I showed the current interest. Well, I saved everything. I have all of the receipts.
From 1842. Like, what is it, the memes? It's I have everything.
I have everything
I have
saved.
everything.
So I showed her all of the receipts. I showed her screenshots from him. I showed her messages from the Mistress. And then the Mistress had even sent me recordings of phone calls that she had with Cheater when she was calling Cheater out. Everything. I have all of it. I'm glad that she said something to me. I'm glad she took me seriously. I'm glad she called him out, because this behavior is just truly not acceptable. And the audacity to do it at the same bar after you've gotten caught.
To do it again is just terrible in itself. But to keep doing it at the same place with the same group of people, like, you guys all have the same thing in common. Weren't you all in the same contest?
All in the same competition.
Even the Mistress, right?
Yeah, all of us.
Yeah.
We all know each other. Like, how stupid are... You know what? It's the cockiness and it's the audacity of, like, well, you know, people probably wouldn't catch me, and even if I do get caught, like... Because that's the thing with Mistress, right? He's able to manipulate her. And I think that he sees people who have been abused before, because this is the pattern. All three of us have been in some sort of abusive relationship before. He sees that and is like, oh, this person's easily manipulated.
Yeah.
And listen, again, with me, he had the right idea, but the wrong bitch, because I was too manipulated in the past to where it hit like the other end where like you can't fool me anymore.
Right.
And I think this is what he thinks, like he succeeded with Mistress manipulating her for so long. It didn't work for me, so he's like, I'm just going to call her crazy. And now he's trying to manipulate someone else who's been through really difficult relationships. And it's so shitty to prey on those people, but that's what people like that do, and it's a pattern. And it's the audacity of thinking he won't get caught, and even if he does, that like people would believe him over me because I'm crazy. That's one of my highlights of this year, is him getting his karma.
Yeah, right.
Already
Karma,
so early
right,
into 2025. Yeah. So that's our little update that we wanted to give you. And I think it factors into this episode really well, because we wanted to, for the first episode, kind of recap 2024 and talk about 2025 a little bit. So do you have any highs from 2024? A lot happened, man.
Wow. I would say the number one is getting pregnant.
Yeah, and you're due like any second.
It could be today. It could be. Yeah.
Could be 5 minutes from now. Who knows?
So it's funny. I made a list of lows and highs, and my low and high is getting pregnant.
Fair.
So the process of getting pregnant was like a low. Like I didn't want to, like, from that episode, the IVF one, I like wanted to quit at that. It was like so mentally like taxing, and like I was done before and like the hormones, like everything. But to actually get pregnant like was just, like really like high. Being able to stay home with Cameron, like not working,
yeah,
and just being a stay-at-home mom is amazing. Like being with him 24/7, and of course, meeting Alanis Morissette. That is like one of the ultimate highs.
Probably of your whole life.
Yeah, like of my life.
Yeah.
But I met Lizzie Hale from Hailstorm. That was awesome too. And Dorothy, I've met her before, but I won the tickets.
Oh, yeah.
For the parking lot thing. And then like we were able to meet her again and then see her like this close. So all of that's pretty cool. And then just all the concerts I went to.
Yeah.
Kelly Clarkson. I never saw her.
Melissa
That was the
Etheridge.
first time. Melissa Etheridge. That's our number one high of 2024. I think that's the funniest story.
It's so funny.
So
we were so
funny.
excited for these stupid concert tickets, and it wasn't even a concert.
I can't believe that was last year.
I know.
Holy
That was
crap.
definitely a highlight. Probably my biggest highs were making it to the finals of Georgie's Idol, because I've been performing for a really long time, but I just like have always kind of lacked the confidence that you need when you perform. And it really helped me feel better about myself and like help me gain the confidence, because my whole life I've been kind of put down by people in the theater community who like, they won't ever tell you you're bad, but they'll say things to imply that you're not very good. And so I always thought I was just bad. So when I did really well in this competition, I was like, oh, maybe I'm not actually bad. And it helped me develop the confidence. So that way, when I had auditions for a show that I've been wanting to do for 13 years and a part I really wanted, I was able to audition with more confidence and I got the part. So it's a part I've wanted for a really long time and a show I really wanted to do. So that was also another highlight. But, there's more to come in 2025 and more to look for. Actually, my friends and I the other day made vision boards. I want to see more Broadway shows. I want to go to more concerts. I want to get back into playing my instruments. And also, like, I want to do a big birthday trip because I'm going to be 35.
Yeah, my goals, for 2025, so I'll have 2 kids. So pretty much just being the best mom that I possibly could be, the best wife.
Those are some things that we're looking forward to in 2025. Alexa is about to give birth any second. So we're thinking of like a maternity leave.
Yeah.
In the meantime, maybe we'll have some guests. And then once you're ready to come back, we'll have you back. And if, there's time for you to pop in and do a virtual, or if you're like, I need to get out of this fucking house. This year we're going to be, we really tried to pump out every other week an episode. But I think now it's just going to kind of be when it can happen. Yeah. And that'll be that.
We're both busy.
Yeah.
And we can't this is fun.
Yeah.
But when it's like stressful because we're like, oh shit,
we have to put something out.
Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah. And as things come up, we'll talk about them. But that's going to be the vibe for 2025. And this way, all of you slackers can catch up on all the episodes that you haven't listened to.
Right.
So if you like what you hear, you know where to find us. Instagram, YouTube, Tatas and Tea, pod. And we're also available to stream on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So I guess the next time you see Alexa, she will have another baby. And the next time you see me, I'll probably still be a hot mess. Let's be real. So
I'll be a hotter mess though.
and if you have any topics or, want to be a guest, you let me know. We're looking. Bye.
Listen up, fans, we're Tatas and Tea, where we turn our traumas into comedy. But we're here for some fun to retell our life tales, from hilarious dates to epic fails. You want some advice, just ask away, but we'll share our opinions either way. No problems too big, no questions too small. With Tatas and Tea,